So let me quickly recap a couple things about the Vikings and Leif Erikson, because the last video you just finished, it stopped at the very end of what I was saying about this individual, and then of course the all water routes, which I'll get back to in a minute. So make sure you know, again, the difference between Vinland and Newfoundland, okay? Newfoundland is what North America basically was called by the Vikings, okay? So they're referring to North America as Newfoundland, and their first settlement or colony is going to be Vinland. And that's because of, like I said, the vines that they would find with the grapes, okay? So don't get that confused if you see a question about that on the quiz or later the test. So finally, like I said, to finish up section 1, we have the first 2 countries who will basically lead the way for everyone else in search of the all-water route to Asia. So this again began in 1450 when Spain, this is Spain, and then this smaller area here is Portugal. There were people from both of these countries who were going to take a chance and look for an all-water route to Asia to see if it would be possible, okay? And we know that between these 2 countries, any guess which one did it before the others? Is it the Spanish? Is it the Portuguese? What do you think? If you said the answer is Portugal, you got it. It's Portugal. So let me show you quickly. We are now moving into Roman numeral 2 of your typed outline. This is it, okay? So again, hopefully you've either printed this off or you have, move myself over here. You've either printed it off or you have already got, the skeleton version of it copied down and you are ready to get it filled in with this next bit of information. All right, so we are now moving into these all water routes being discovered. And we just said Portugal's going to do it first. So let's talk about the importance of Prince Henry the Navigator. So Henry the Navigator is a Portuguese sailor. He happened to be the son of a Portuguese king. That's why he has prince in front of his name. And he wanted to help find a new water route to Asia. Because remember, the only small body of water that people were really navigating was the Mediterranean Sea. So they're looking for a better route to get to Asia and possibly an all water route. What he did was build navigation schools. And what these schools did was train people how to become successful sailors. And what I mean by that is taught them how to use some of these better ships that have been built, how to use some of the new navigational tools that were invented, the compass, the astrolabe, things like that. How to read a map, that was taught in these schools. So these schools were very successful in sending people who had been trained. These people would be sent out every year to try and sail around Africa. Now, why Africa, it says? You can add that it's because the Portuguese believed that in order to reach Asia, you had to sail around the southern tip of Africa. So let me cut to my map and show you what I mean. Here is Portugal right here on the end of Spain. And so what the Portuguese believed is that by sailing all the way around Africa like this, they could get over here to the Asian part of the world. And that's, of course, where the silk and the spices and the porcelain, all of that is, where they could make more money instead of going the overland trade routes. So thanks to Henry the Navigator, the Portuguese will successfully reach India by an all-water route. Now, it took some time to do this, so let me go over 2 individuals with you who are going to help make this happen for the Portuguese. The first one is Bartholomew Dias. So he is a Portuguese explorer who will make history by being the first to sail around the tip of South Africa. So you can see here, he left Portugal and he started making his way along the African coast. And as he got closer and closer and came down here to the most southern tip, he is going to encounter with his crew of ships these violent storms. And so, unfortunately, those storms caused him to have to turn back and end that trip because clearly he wanted to keep going, but they couldn't. They knew it was too dangerous. So they did what they could. And of course, they went back to report their findings to the king. Well, when Dias met with the King of Portugal, he told him of course, these encounter of storms down at the southern tip. And he being Dias, wanted to name that area the Cape of Storms. Rightful reason, right? That's what was going on. The King of Portugal didn't like that. He was concerned that that would scare off any other explorers to finish the job. And so he said, you know what? We need to think of something a little bit more positive, something that will convince sailors, explorers to continue on despite the stormy area. And so they agreed that that southern tip of Africa would be named the Cape of Good Hope. So there is good hope that you can continue on and make it all the way to Asia, because that's the ultimate goal, to get from Portugal all the way to Asia so you can get those goods to take back with you and sell. So it's called the Cape of Good Hope, right down here, the southernmost tip of Africa. 10 years after Dias had already reached this point, you're going to have another Portuguese sailor who will pick up after Dias left off. So he'll get all the way down here and he will continue on. And that man is Vasco de Gama. So on your number 3 on your outline, the answer is Vasco de Gama. He became the first to reach India by all water. Okay, so make sure you see how important that wording is, all water. And of course, he makes history by being the first European to sail from Europe to Asia and back. So you can kind of see down here with this little smaller map, he goes all the way around Africa. He makes it over here to India, where he will bring back all of these spices. More about that in a minute. And then, of course, he will sail all the way back after he spends some time in India and loads up his ship with those goods. So let's talk about what he's going to bring back with him. He is going to load up on all of these spices. And again, you can't find these in Europe. They're specific to India. And he gets the spices, he brings them back with him, and look what ends up happening. He will be so wealthy. He sells these spices for 60 times what he paid. And again, he's cutting out the middleman of the Muslims and the Italians because it's an all water route. He didn't have to go over land at all in order to get these spices. So this is going to make a huge difference, and he's going to make so much more money than he would have going over land. Now, this next topic that says Bombay here on the PowerPoint, there is not a place on your outline that is specifically typed. So what I suggest you do is next to the 3 little a out in your margin, if you would, and here I'll show you what I'm talking about. Right here out in the margin where you've got some room, if you'll write Bombay, and you can put down what I'm going to explain to you about the importance of this city. So I want you to write, and I'll repeat it. It is a port city, P-O-R-T, port city in India, where the Portuguese conducted the majority of their trade. Port city in India, where the Portuguese conducted the majority of their trade. So this, of course, is the city that de Gama was in. He, loaded up his ships. Port city, meaning it's right there on the water, so it's easy access. And Portuguese, after, of course, de Gama, would use this obviously for trade purposes. Okay, so remember the importance of Bombay. Now, on your number 4, we know that Portugal will claim the land of Brazil, and that is thanks to the explorer known as Pedro Cabral. Okay, so his voyage, of course, took him a different direction. You can see here, okay, Brazil is over here in South America. So what he did was he took a chance thinking, well, maybe I can get to India by sailing west. And he ended up over here. Of course, no one knew that that land was there. And he will claim Brazil. Again, this is going to be in the year 1500. This is several years after Columbus made his voyage over here. Again, don't think that Cabral was before Columbus. I'm going a little out of order date-wise right now. So don't get confused. Make sure you know for number 4, it was around the year 1500, okay? You don't have to memorize dates for me. The only dates that I'm really going to make you know is the time period we're studying, when exploration began and when it ended. And then there may be a couple of other ones thrown in there, but I'll definitely go over those with y'all in a review. So the Portuguese are definitely making progress. They're the first to find the all-water route to Asia, and so that is going to spread very quickly. Word spreads quickly about these type of discoveries. Others will begin to try to sail to Asia. Others specifically meaning the Spanish. You can see here, Spain will have Ferdinand Magellan go and explore, and he will lay claim to the Philippines. So that, of course, is just one thing that Magellan is going to be famous for. So let me show y'all Magellan's route. So he starts here in Spain, here's Spain, and he again sails west. He's one of those people that is convinced that if you go west, that you can reach Asia. So what he does is he starts sailing and ends up going all the way around. Move this. All the way around the Horn of South America. Of course, down here, you're going to have a little strip of water that will be named after him, the Strait of Magellan. And then he continues on, and remember, this is round, so he ends up coming over here, and the Philippines are going to be in this area here. Again, let me move this. All right, so the Philippines are right in this area, this little cluster of islands. And while Magellan is here in the Philippines, unfortunately, they are going to encounter some hostile natives. And unfortunately for Magellan, he gets killed in the Philippines. But his men will be able to escape, and they will continue on coming around Africa and going back to Spain. So you see what just happened, okay? Magellan's crew will make history by being the first to sail around the world. So this is absolutely never been done before. So you can see here, he sailed around South America, the Strait of Magellan, the southern tip of South America is named for him. Unfortunately, he loses his life in the Philippines.